What's up, nerds? My name is Trogdor, and I've got another week of the NSTL coming up right about now. Exactly right now. I am going up against Gray, or I don't know what his other alias is, but yeah, he is the commissioner of this entire league. He is the God Emperor of this entire league and the Lord Commander of this entire league. Basically, we're going up the big boss himself. He's got a 2-5 record, -3 differential. I've got a 4-3 record, -1 differential. I am finally positive in my overall record, but I'm still in the negative in my differential, but that's just the way that I play. I don't win big. Generally, my team is just not good at sweeping, apparently. But that's besides the point. I'm not ever really, I just prefer going for the wins. Besides that, this battle is about to start here. If you didn't check out my team builder, go ahead and do that. You will see why I'm bringing the 6 that I brought. And yeah, so Gray's team right here. Kyurem Black, Mew, Greninja, Mega Heracross, Registeel, and Haunter. If you recall, I predicted 6 to come, and there are some that did not show up. Notably, the Gastrodon and Whimsicott. So I almost was certain the Whimsicott would be coming because between like Bulu and Zygarde, that's the only thing that can like reliably switch onto both of those things, but it's not here. Gastrodon is not here to switch into Zygarde, so I'm guessing his checks to it are offensive, meaning either that Kyurem or that Greninja is Scarf, so I've got to be careful of that. Luckily, my Hariyama will take on both of those if it's at max health, so I've just got to, keep that healthy as possible. That could be on offensive Mew, it could be defensive Mew. That Registeel is definitely going to be annoying, and right away when I saw that Haunter, I was not predicting that thing to come at all, but then I realized, where's my Ghost Switch in? And it doesn't exist. So that's, when I saw that, I was like, okay, that's a Scarf Haunter, I've got to be very careful. So it could be a Scarf Haunter, it could be a Scarf Greninja. Lots of things could, be that Kyurem too. So also note, without the Gastrodon, that means Manectric is free to just Volt Switch on everything. So I'm going to go ahead and lead doing that. Going to go right away for big damage and then see, scout for sets and see what ends up being my, I say a lot. What ends up being my potential win con. So let's get right into it. So yeah, Mega Manectric going right away. So Intimidate doesn't work, that's Clear Body. I want to just go right away for the Overheat. If that's a Fizz-Def Registeel, I'm going to be doing, close to 80% to, a Fizz-Def Registeel. So I just want to scout for damage, see if it's Fizz-Def or Spidef. So I'm just going to go straight for the Overheat. I can just immediately get a huge chunk of damage off because I want this Registeel to go down. It is the most annoying thing for my team to face in this game. So the Overheat, that does 50%, just over 50%. So I calc that, and this is a either fully Spidef or mostly Spidef Registeel. So I don't see why he wouldn't be max HP. So I know that now, which means Zygarde is going to have a much easier time setting up in front of it if I get that opportunity. So I'm going to go ahead and Volt Switch because I have no reason not to. I do damage to this Mew. And so right here, when I saw the damage that I did, I completely forgot that I was at -2 special attack. So I was just looking at it and be like, is this some max HP, max Spidef Assault Vest Mew? Because that damage was just so little. This is a very defensive Mew, the way that I was able to switch, and even if I wasn't at -2, it's still it's a Spidef Mew, basically. So both that Registeel and that Mew are very defensive, so they're both going to be quite annoying for me. How about that? So Tapu Bulu comes in, and he doesn't have a switch in. I don't have superpower on this, unfortunately. I should have gone with that over Nature's Madness, but in my prep, I justified my use for that, and I'm still gonna, I've got the set that I've got. So Bulu comes in, takes Rocks damage, Grassy Surge. That gives Mew some extra recovery, but it doesn't have leftovers, so I'm thinking it's either AV or possibly Aviar, what else could it be? Could be... I'm just having trouble scouting for the item on this. So I go ahead for the Nature's Madness. That does a good chunk to Registeel. Now I'm going to... Unfortunately, yeah, I don't have the superpower. Otherwise, this Registeel would be gone right now. So yeah, I'm just going to do as much damage to it right now as I can. I bring in Mega Manectric because my best thing to do for it is Overheat, as he pivots into Mew, or switches into Mew. What's a pivot? I don't know. So I go for the Volt Switch again, and right here I see the actual damage that's done, and then I'm like, oh right, I was at -2. Good for me for paying attention to what's going on in the match. So then I'm able to accurately calc for this, and it is not Assault Vest, it is just, you know, regular defensive Mew. So I go back into Bulu. This time I'm going to go for a Mega Horn, as Earth Power does, like, that did 8%. That was just, this Bulu is so bulky, I love it. So I don't know if it's got coverage for me, so I'm just going to go right ahead for the Mega Horn here, and that does laughable damage to Registeel. And I don't have, I can't do a lot of damage to Registeel, especially as grassy terrain goes down. Mega Horn, or not Mega Horn, the Horn Leech is not doing too much, as he goes for the Toxic. So if you've been following what's his face, Gray's season, you'll know that he doesn't hit Toxics. So right here, him actually hitting one is, yeah, kind of a moment for him that he actually did that. It's unfortunate because that limits Bulu's lifespan, so I can't just stay in and hit as freely. I have to like switch around with it so I don't rack up toxic damage. And with the rocks there, I'm still going to be taking a lot of damage on Bulu. Go back into Mega Manectric, and as he goes for the Seismic Toss, which does a significant amount, I'm not going to lie. Mew comes in, and I go for the Overheat because I could have gotten a lot of damage on the Registeel, but I'm at -2 again, and Volt Switch did another 13% damage. This time I go into Latias as he reveals Roost, so I go for Shadow Ball, and that does an okay chunk, and I get a Spadef drop. Dazzling Gleam does kind of a little bit of damage. If I didn't get that Spadef drop, he could have stayed in. It was a roll for me to KO without that, so that Spadef drop forced him to switch, which is kind of unfortunate for me because I just wanted to get damage on that Mew. And either way, Registeel is taking hits for days from my Latias as I go for another Shadow Ball. And after the leftovers, I'm just not going to be doing enough damage with the second one right here. Hariyama comes in as he goes for another Toxic. He hits another Toxic. Congratulations, Gray. So now I'm panicking like, oh great, my check to Kyurem and Greninja is really weakened, and I'm not playing this the way I wanted to. And I'm just now realizing that so far in the battle, we're 13 turns in, he has only brought in Registeel and Mew. So those two, while they're taking a lot of damage and Registeel is almost gone, they're doing a significant number on my team so far with the toxic damage and the rocks damage that's been happening. But at the same time, I've only been switching between, it was only between Manectric and Bulu for a while, so it's a slow match so far. So close combat's incoming. He goes for a Seismic Toss, or wait, I didn't go for a close combat. I was expecting him to, no, I was expecting him to go for the Haunter there, predicting a close combat, so I went for the knockoff, but instead he just does Seismic Toss, which, like I said, I didn't want Hariyama to get damaged that much, so it was a bad play on my part to like predict there. I should have just gone straight for the damage. Registeel would have been gone, and I would have bet at a much higher HP stat. So that happens, and I just, yeah, don't want to be taking more damage. Cofagrigus is immune to Seismic Toss as he Toxics me. Look, everything's getting toxic. And finally, the first thing goes down. After 16 turns, Registeel goes down. That was my priority for like doing damage to the Registeel. It took a really long time, but it's finally gone. But still, like after all the toxic and rocks, it's like done a number on my team. This will make it a little bit easier for Bulu to do damage, but at the same time, like I ended up not bringing Zen Headbutt for the Heracross. I don't have, the only thing I can do to the Kyurem is Rock Tomb, and Greninja, like I've got the Horn Leech, but I'm weak enough that both of those will be KOing me at this point. So that's unfortunate. Cofagrigus is in, it's toxic, but I can still take hits for days from the Heracross. I do not want to take any damage from that Haunter, so I just have to sack something to the Shadow Ball. So that was, yeah, Haunter was a little bit unexpected, and it's doing damage to me because, like I said, I don't have a Ghost Switch in. I had to sack something. I'm expecting it to be Scarf, so that's why I'm going to make the play that I'm about to and go into Zygarde and go for a Dragon Dance right here. So Zygarde comes in because if he's Scarfed and like Modest or Timid, it's doing 50%, but this does closer to 70, so that's a Specs Haunter in fact. So that's a lot of damage on Zygarde, and I'm definitely not living an Ice Beam from Greninja or Kyurem after my Yachi Berry. So whatever, well, Haunter's gonna die on the next turn as I go for Thousand Arrows because I hit through Levitate. So if he wants to switch into something, that's honestly a misplay on his part, especially if that switch in is going to be his Greninja, which I'm still expecting that to be Scarfed as Haunter revealed itself to be Specs. So Greninja like has to come in safely to KO me at this point. So something has to go down, and if he plays it smart, it's going to be Haunter, which yeah, it goes down right here. So yeah, as expected, Greninja comes in. I'm just going to get as much damage with E-Speed as possible. Does not KO, and even after my Yachi Berry, I go down to that Ice Beam. So that's unfortunate. In typical fashion, Zygarde sets up, kills one thing, and goes down. Yeah, I guess it's just such a scary Pokemon that people have to just have an immediate panic button to it, so I need to start prepping accordingly to that. Hariyama comes in, and I am thick fat, so I wouldn't be taking anything from Greninja. The Mew revealed itself to be the Colbur Berry, so while I thought it was a pretty free knockoff to go for, the Mew came in and was able to tank that as I get even more toxic damage done to me. I was hoping, well, I don't know if Heracross would have been a safe switch to that knockoff. I mean, it's got the Mega Stone, so that's not going to be knocked off or anything, but I do have the Fire Punch that would have been doing some damage. But at this point, Hariyama is just so weakened that Kyurem and Greninja are getting scarier and scarier by the minute, and I am out of priority users to do that last 20% to the Greninja. So the game is definitely not looking in my favor at this point, especially as Mew goes for Roost, and yeah, not looking too pretty. It goes for Roost again, and I go for the knockoff again, but he already had his item knocked off, so that's just not happening. Tapu Bulu once again coming in. It's at 100%, so I'm just going to go for my Mega Horn right here. No. Okay, let me backtrack a little bit. I was expecting him to expect that Mega Horn because that's what I had been doing to Mew originally. So I was just hoping that either the Greninja or Kyurem would come in. No, Greninja wouldn't take a Mega Horn any day of the week. Kyurem to come in, get slowed down, and I could KO it after that. But instead, Mew gets slowed down, which, while it's good that I can actually outspeed it, it's really not the most beneficial thing for me right now. Dazzling Gleam does not do a lot of damage, and even after the Grassy Terrain recovery, I'm getting worn down by Toxic. So Mega Horn connects and does 71%, so that is just huge damage onto the Mew. And even if he roosts if he roosts, he'll be back up enough where it might be a roll at that point. So Roost happens. 72%, so my next Mega Horn is a roll, but of course I miss, and at this point it's just, I'm thinking like, wow, that miss just that means it's not happening to me right now. So now it's definitely in range to live another Mega Horn, but Heracross comes in, we go for the Mega Horn, does laughable damage. I don't have Zen Headbutt, but I'm about to die to the Toxic anyway. Cofagrigus is my check to Heracross, and whatever move he goes for, Shadow Claw, he is going to lose his skill link, and I go for the Will-O-Wisp so that he is not going to be doing any damage to me at all. So I calculated if he was like max attack and like some speed, because I was expecting some speed for the Bulu, of course, because they have the same speed tier. So I was expecting at this damage for my Shadow Ball to kill at this point. But first I go for the Pain Split because I went for this Pain Split because I was expecting a bit of bulk there. So I calculated like it was like 64 HP or something I thought it would have. So Shadow Ball was doing not quite enough damage that I wanted some health back. So after the burn there, he goes for another Shadow Claw, still not doing a lot of damage. So even Shadow Ball just did not do a lot of damage at all. Later he told me that it was a really, really bulky Heracross and had like no speed at all. So while Cofagrigus, I guess, did its job, it didn't do its job well enough. And that Heracross was just so bulky that even though its Shadow Claw was just not hitting me hard at all, it was tanking some pretty good hits there. And now it's just, you know, burned, no Spadef, so I'm able to go for a Psychic and KO it. But now the Scarf Greninja comes in, and I can't hit it, and it can KO me with the Dark Bolts. Hariyama comes in, and I die to Toxic next turn, so I definitely lose. So that was kind of an unfortunate game for me right there. The only really big thing was that Mega Horn miss made dealing with Mew a little bit more annoying. In the end, it probably only would have made it a 2-0 because either Kyurem or Greninja at that point swept my team. Greninja, of course, being scarfed, and that Kyurem just doing big damage, and Hariyama just got way too weak, and I misplayed with that incredibly, and I should have just gone straight for damage on everything instead of over predicting for like different things to come in. Misprepped with Bulu a little bit. Not having superpower really screwed me. That would have been the move to go for instead of Rock Tomb for his faster things. It does huge damage to both Greninja and Kyurem, which are the two main reasons I brought the Rock Tomb. So that was just poor prep on my part. And plus Nature's Madness was not really doing me any favors. I could have brought the Horn Leech, the Mega Horn, and then Zen Headbutt for the Heracross, because that he told me that was his like dedicated check to my Bulu, even though it never came in at any point. But he was really bulky and basically took any hit, so I really should have had the better coverage on Bulu for his team. But anyways, that was the game. I'm 4-4 now at -4, so I've got an even record again. I can, you know, deal with that. I'm still in kind of okay standings, which it's kind of complicated because someone is 2 games behind, and they will either like be 1 ahead of me or 1 below me, depending on how the next 2 games though. But otherwise, I have lost my number 2 spot in my conference. It's not a division, it's a conference, I think. Yeah, Diamond is broken down into 2. DFP is on top. What's his face? Frost is next. He's also 4-4, but with a much higher differential than mine. I think he's like 4-4 +4 right now. So I'm not in the number 2 spot. I basically gotta win and out and definitely beat. I think I'm still, of the people in my conference, I still have to go against, I believe it is Ellie and the aforementioned Frost that are both in my division. The words are confusing. I'm not a sports person by any means. I definitely have to be the Ellie and Frost to have a very good chance. My next opponent is super tough. Brendan and the Trenton Thunderous, they are on a roll. Currently 7-1, so that's even a higher record than DFP at this point. So I need to be the underdog once again and come out on top. I have a fantastic matchup for that battle, so stay tuned for that team builder. I basically have to like go all out, go for the wins, because going for the number 2 spot would be cool, but I definitely want to be like in the higher bracket of the Diamond Conference overall for up and coming things in the future. But anyway, that's been the battle, and a very slight, you know, talking about the standings of everything. I lost my number 2 spot, like I mentioned, but I still got a shot at number 2. Or even if, you know, all the other battlers choke, it's still possible for me to be number 1. But, you know, we'll see how that goes. Anyway, stay tuned for future battles. I hope you enjoyed this one. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. And that'll be all I have for you today. Bye-bye.